Hello, traders, and welcome to another episode of the Trader Bite this morning. This is episode number 2275. It is 8:01 a.m. Chicago time on the 19th of July, 2022. It is Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Mike seems low today, maybe. Let's see. Let's dive right into the Convergent Trading pre-market summary sheet here. What we have is a market that's in a mild risk-on posture and holding steady after selling off yesterday afternoon, a move in the S&P that I completely missed. Sorry, let me check my sound settings real quick. Unfortunately, okay. Unfortunately, Windows has a tendency to, despite the fact that you tell it not to, it has a tendency to just change the settings on its own. Should be nice and strong now. So we have a mild risk on sentiment. We sold off yesterday afternoon after a pretty kind of sideways trade, and what we've done so far is we have pushed back up in the overnight session across the board. We're inside of yesterday's range across the Nasdaq, S&P, Russell, and Dow. Oil has come off a little bit. Oil's off 1.6%, trading at 97.70. And copper's been taking a hit, continues to take a hit. The one that's really important this morning to pay attention to is really copper. Sorry, got too much going on. Is the dollar. The dollar coming off of its just incredible highs. The dollar has gone parabolic, as you can see from this daily chart of DXY, is having a pullback. The dollar coming off is bullish for U.S. stocks as manufactured products and services in the U.S. Become a little bit cheaper to afford. So with the euro dropping below parity, the dollar's now coming off. I was looking at the euro chart. It looks like it's heading for 110. Where is it now? The euro, it's 102.76. So that's one thing. The ECB is set to hike rates to 20 by 50 basis points, potentially 50 basis points. They've been preparing the market for 25 basis points on Thursday, but more and more it looks like 50 basis points. Apple says it's slowing hiring and spending within certain departments. It is also taking heat from the antitrust authority in Russia. We also have summer trading. I mean, things are just kind of trading sideways. We've been in balance. We move from balance to balance, but we haven't really done much for the month overall. Looking at the calendar, Great Britain got its unemployment rate, came in at 3.8% in line, which is also in line with previous. The claimant count is negative 20, better than a negative 25,000, which is also better than the prior of 34.7 thousand, negative 34.7 thousand. We had housing starts, which were somewhat in line. Building permits also somewhat in line. Housing starts month on month for June were expected to be up 0.8%, came in at negative 2%, and building permits month on month came in at negative 0.6%, expected at negative 1%. At 11 Eastern, we get Bank of England's Governor Bailey. We get Fed's Brainerd at 2:35, and then we get the API crude oil stock change of 4:30 before we get into the loan prime rate out of China for 1 year and 5 year. Really not that much going on in the on the calendar. The S&P is in a multi-distribution profile. I'll pull up the chart here in a minute. Multi-distribution profile, 192,000 contracts traded. 100% of the inventory overnight is long, meaning that 100% of the volume that went off in the overnight session occurred above the prior close. You can see the low is 38.34, which is yesterday's close. So it opened, touched the 38.34, and ran up. The overnight session shows a weak low, We are at a very clear double distribution profile in there. Point of control, 38.41. Looks like it is likely to shift to 38.66, maybe 65. The range, 38.75. And a relatively normal kind of slow overnight session. Okay, so let's migrate to the charts. Let's move to TPOs first. Here's a TPO chart. So yesterday was very interesting, very interesting. We opened up, if you recall, yesterday, the 39.09, 39.10 was important. We talked quite a bit yesterday about the 38.57, 56.57. Okay. We talked about the 64 right here. 60, was it 64? I think it was 64, 67 maybe. And again, 39.10 up here. And then the prior low, it was at 1975, if you recall. The low on Friday was 1975. There was a full session VWAP in there. There was also the gap mid, the distance between the open and the prior high. The mid of that was 20. A little bit of confluence there. We tested down and we finished at highs. And then we ended up opening in a relatively large gap. The anticipated action yesterday was that we would likely find ourselves in an open auction out of range. With the market kind of waving back and forth throughout the session and potentially testing a 39.10 and then falling off, but not by much. Expected the one-time framing to trigger off as of yesterday. But what it did in the afternoon is, consolidated. I didn't have a single trade yesterday, not one. I didn't see anything to act on that gave me good risk reward during the chop. We'll switch to another chart to look at that. And then I wasn't really here for the drop. So consolidation balance, and then we finally broke lower to break into the prior day's range. Once we broke into the prior day's range, we're looking for 56.57 and then 38.40 down here, and it ended up putting in a low of 20.25, missing that Friday low by 2 ticks. So what we have here is basically a double bottom. Okay, now one time framing is up. So one TFU in effect. TFU on the daily. One time framing up is going on the daily. The weekly is neutral because we broke the prior week's low last week. But the time framing still remains higher. And we closed at 38.34, and we're currently trading at 38.71. So what we've done is we've pushed back through Friday's acceptance, held 56, and then now we're trading up at 72 in the stem in these single prints. If you look closely, if you squint, you'll see the shaded area right here. Those are some single prints there. We're opening in the single prints, and where does that put us? That puts us in between the high that was there at 67 on Friday, and the bottom of the top of the single print range at 79. We're opening in this low volume zone, and so we're opening a little within yesterday's range, but we're really opening out of balance this morning. Technically, again, one time framing up continues on a daily, and we held yesterday's close, and we have moved away from the 56 into the 71 into this thin range. So to me, if it continues any higher, then you're looking at retesting yesterday's point of control, which was at 38.93 right here, 93. And then of course we're back at the 39.09 balance point. 39.09 comes to us from 2 days of balance up here. I'll show you the different chart, the points of control overlapping. And so yesterday's drop, I got to tell you, was a bit surprising. It's the fact that it dropped so hard was interesting. I don't know. I wasn't at my desk, so I don't know if that was a news-based event or what. But let's pull in more data here and take a look. Actually, let's look at yesterday's action. So this is yesterday's action here. Very few big lot trades. Very few big lot trades. And it was an open auction. You could see it was an open auction. And what it did is it pushed the opening swing by a few ticks, came back to the middle. Then it pushed that, came back to the middle. Then it put in the IB, came back to the middle. From the lows, it put in a low, pushed back to the middle, put in a lower low, pushed back in the middle. Higher low, back to the middle, put in the IB, push back to the middle. See how it goes back to the mid right there, and then it finally sold off. So this looked to me like it was a news-based event with an SOC right in here in the 39.93 area, which was yesterday's point of control. This may be that Apple news that they're cutting down spending and hiring, which is not a good thing. And then it just trickled all the way down into the prior day's low. So see, we missed yesterday's low by 2 ticks before bouncing back up. This morning, we have this stock zone that I put in last night at 38.55. This morning, we went to 53.50, pulled back. Look at this beauty. Breakthrough, pull back to where? 53.50. The mid and VWAP right in that area for the continuation. This is textbook stuff here. We get a push, pull right to prior resistance. You know, those who say support resistances for it are for idiots. Cool. I'll make money by being an idiot. That's fine. But here, what we have is this line in the sand in this 53.50, 55 area. This is an important area to note. It's also the low volume node between these two large distributions. So this morning, I'm going to keep an eye on this 53.50. As long as it doesn't get taken, then I'm expecting a test of the single prints up at 79. And if the 79 gets taken, where do we go? Where do we go if the 79 is taken? Take a guess. $93. Very good. We go back to the point of control of yesterday, and then we expect chop here once we get here. Okay? So that's what's on deck for today. So here it is. We've broken down. We've come back up. We have up till the 79 to clear still. We've got this 53 area, which is in the 56, 57 area. We've got, hang on, it's going to reload the data. It's just not pulling in enough data yet. Pulls in whatever it needs. In the meantime, let's look at the delta. The delta's got very large lots and large lots, both moving higher. We see that the overall delta is in confluence, or is working in cooperation with the large lots today versus the small lots. This is a little nugget that I'm sharing with you here. How the delta, which side the delta follows, gives me an idea of the kind of action I'm expecting today. I'm expecting, given this information here, I'm expecting this thing to go to 79 on the open. I'm expecting it to see 93 this morning. So I'm going to be looking to buy pullbacks once we open, looking for 93, 79 and 93. That's the main play of the day. Okay. So here's the balance from up here, the 39.09. So I'm expecting this thing to push, pull back a bit, and I'm looking for it to push the 79, which is right here, back to 93, and then eventually back to the magnet of 09. That's what I'm looking at today. Given that we're looking for 50 points of range, we may see ourselves retesting the 39.20. The 39.22 was the prior week's high. So once we take the 09, if we stay up there, look for a test of 22. Okay? A sell-off will target yesterday's low. So a sell-off is going to target the 20 below. And then that would be a very quick move lower into 3,800. I'm trying to stop myself from sneezing. Then if it starts to sell off, then you're looking for the 20 and you're looking for the 00 as key targets below. Okay, so that's what's up. I'll leave it there. Doesn't need to be any longer than that. I was going to do some trader wisdom today. I was going to ask you this question and have a little discussion about it, but I'm not feeling up to it. I want to ask you something to think about here. What motivates you to trade? What's motivating you to trade? Okay, this is important to discuss or to understand, because your motivation to trade is very likely to translate itself into the actions you take based on the information you see. If you are motivated to trade by money, then you will seek to trade based on money, which means that you will basically be taking action based on your P&L. I'm going to tell you that 22 years of trading experience, of which approximately 19 were spent with other traders, backing other traders, and so on, I can tell you that this is a very poor motivation. It's short-lived, and it burns a lot of people out. There is a graveyard out there that is overflowing. People are piled high. Can't even bury them. Overflowing and piled high with people who went after P&L. So many. Okay? So if that's what motivates you to trade, think about it. Consider that this is a tough way to go at this. There are other motivations. We'll pick this discussion up tomorrow. Make sure you think about it. What is it that motivates you to trade? If you're here to find yourself standing in front of a Lamborghini at some point taking pictures for Instagram, then it's a tough road to take. There are other motivations to be a trader. Make sure you know yours, because your actions are going to follow whatever the answer is. Okay? Good luck, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Make sure you hit the like button, and if you have not, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe and notification button on YouTube. Good luck.